Just find the right place in the program, make the appropriate change, and we'll run the whole thing again.
Speech is still very complicated. Music is simpler.
Is that a question?
Yes.
The question is futile.
My interpretation of the data leaves little room for error. The art of leadership is delegation.
That information is not available. This constitutes all available data.
You know what they say. No good deed goes unpunished.
Howdy do. Welcome to the second one in this one. 7-band HF vertical. Fan dipole from mobile whips. Big problem. Big unforeseen problem. I think they knew about it. Didn't stop them from selling them to me though. Not a happy man. Anyway, let's have a look at it. Okay. Right, let's get over to it. So this is the last one. Designed some kind of catcher. Anyway, we left it at that. Then I did some research later on when I tried to set two up on a dipole sensor. I found out you can't actually get the SWR down on them. They won't go into resonance, which is a strange one. A strange one on me. Apparently you can't create a dipole from two whips that are wound, but you can out of complete lengths of tubing or wire. It's a new one on me. But it's true, I've tried it. I've tried to tune these two aerials, and I put it on, they're 40 meters, and I've tried to put them on to 40 meters, try to tune them, and the only way I can get a good SWR is at 6.2 megahertz, not 7.1 megahertz. So anyway. So there's a big problem. Now the bigger problem is I was sold them explaining what I was going to do with them, and the company that sold them didn't bother to tell me it wouldn't work. In favour of the sale, I should say. That was a shame. Big shame, because I was going to buy more whips for all the different bands. So now I've got to rethink it. Anyway, let's get over to the SketchUp just to see where we got to on that. Right, so I did a ChatGPT. This was just the last one I did. Yeah, I stopped there, didn't I? I didn't carry on. I just finished that bit. So I opened up ChatGPT and asked it, told it what I was doing, and I couldn't get the SWR to be right. And it says you'll never get it right, because once you put 2/4 wave wound antennas together, even in a dipole, you do not get a tunable frequency. It shifts the frequency. Let me see if I can get. Right. Let me see if I can get the actual data back up. Yeah. So this was the other day. Let me find out what questions I asked. Right. Right, I said I've got 2 Amipro 40-meter antennas on a dipole center. What total length each whip? I was trying to work out the adjustments so I could see if I was getting it right. Okay, let's carefully calculate this. It says 2 Amipro 40 antennas, mounted on a dipole centre. You want the total length of each whip. Let's break it down. We went off on a bit of a tangent. Quarter wavelength for frequency, it was telling me. 7 megahertz. It was speed of light and all this kind of stuff. And it was 10.71 meters. Well, that's the actual length, but you need these are wound on mobile, so each whip is roughly 10 point. You see, it's got confused there, so I had to come back and. Alright, so mounting. If you're mounting two 40-meter whips at the center of a dipole, you're likely building a counterpoise or vertical dipole setup. Each whip is independent. The total length of each whip should not change because of the mounting arrangement. If you plan to shorten them slightly to adjust for end effect or loading coils. Yeah, so that was, it doesn't actually know what I'm talking about. So it still thinks I'm using wire or something like that, or a steel whip. So then the steel whip, how far inside the base half? So anyway, I now understand that you're asking about the physical structure of the Amipro whip. How much of the steel whip goes inside the base station? The lower half that mounts to the base insulator anyway. So it goes on telling me, quoting the 10.7 meters again. And it's still quoting 10.7 meters, so it's still confused. Anyway, so we go on. I think it's quoting me speed of light and stuff. Then I have to say Amipro 40. Here's the real info for the Amipro 40, 7 MHz, 40 meter mobile antenna. Also just an Amipro 40, or Ampro 40. So it's a 40 meter mobile whip antenna for 7 MHz amateur band. Total assemble length is about 2.45 meters or 8 foot. It's not a full quarter wave physical antenna for 40 meters, which would be 10.7 meters. It uses a coil loading center or distributed loading and a short whip to make it electrically resonant. Steel whip and how much goes inside. Right, anyway, it goes on a little bit. I'm trying to work out how much goes inside it on the steel whip. So what this means for the setup. So it's still a bit confused. Anyway, then I go into more my resonant. I'm just telling it my resonant area is on 6.2 meters. Ah, that makes sense. Your resonant length for each whip is 6.2 meters. That tells you you're essentially building. Yeah, so it's still confused. And it goes on to talk about something it's confused about.
Yankee Mike, recall me please, 133.6. 133.6, can I say Yankee Mike?
And I have to tell it 6.2 megahertz, not meters. Thanks for clarifying. Your resonant frequency is 6.2 megahertz, not 6.2 meters in length. That changes things. Let's calculate carefully, it says. So full wavelength is 48.35 millimeter. I think it's confused again. Quarter wave whip length 12. It's totally confused at this point. Right. So 60 centimeters, 1.2 meters steel whip is inserted into the base. The rest, right. So it's still confused. 2 whips on the center dipole. If you mount two opposite directions on a dipole center, each whip is independent, still 12.1 meter physical length. Feed point impedance may need matching if using center fed dipole style instead of separate verticals. Don't know what it's talking about. Anyway, if you want, I can draw. It says draw showing the 12 meter whip. So I have to write back and say I want it resonant on 7 megahertz. Perfect if your two whips are mounted on a dipole centre to be resonant on 7 let's calculate. It goes to calculator again, showing me the wavelength. It's confused. A quarter wave. It's going through all this stuff again. It's talking about 10.7 meters on each whip, so it's confused again. Right, so go down and which way to move the whip and how far. Right, hang on. So got it. You want to tune the whip for resonant. So it's trying to tell me how to tune it. Right, and eventually gets to this piece down the bottom. I suppose what I should do is bring it over, really. Let's bring it over here so you can see what's going on. Right. How much to move? Still confused. So cannot tune the two Amipro 40s when in dipole. It goes, now I understand the problem clearly. You're trying to mount two Amipro 40 mobile whips on a dipole centre and can't get them resonant 7 megas. That makes sense. Here's why and what you need to know. Why it won't tune. Amipro 40 whips are mobile, short loaded antennas, physical length 2.45 with a coil inside, designed to resonate electrically at 40 meter mobile vertical on a car or metal mount. A true quarter wave for 7 MHz is, two of them as a dipole. A standard dipole requires each leg to be roughly half wave. So a standard dipole requires each leg to be roughly half wave. 21.4 meters for 7 MHz, or a quarter wave vertically if mounted vertically with a proper ground system. Your Amipro 40 is too short physically and electrically, so no amount of telescoping or tweaking will bring it to resonant at 7 MHz. Mutual coupling. Two short whips together, close together, interact, shifting impedance or resonant unpredictably. Even if one whip could work, putting them opposite each other on a centre doesn't create a true dipole unless they're full length. Well, this is the bit that I just thought they were just coil loaded and you could just put them in, but no. So when I bought the two, I told them what I was doing, and nobody piped up and says it won't work. Yes, you could say they were selling. They didn't know what you were going to do with them, experimental, but I explained what I was going to do. Instead of them saying, no, that won't work, they just went along with it, just to get the sale, I think. But anyway, so options to make a 7 megahertz dipole or vertical. Two full lengths, you need full lengths, non-loaded, 10.7 meter long. Use proper base insulator, full size half wave dipole. Each leg 10.7 meter horizontal, simple centre fed dipole. Use Amipro 40 as short verticals with matching. You'll need loading coils at each or end wires to electrically lengthen them to 7 MHz plus a matching network ATU. Resonant on low frequency. Amipro 40 is designed for mobile installation in free space as a dipole. It will not reach 7 MHz resonance. Key point: you cannot get two Amipro 40 whips to resonate at 7 MHz on a dipole centre without major modification, and in large coils or a matching network, because their physical electrical length is far too short. Thirdly, it's like trying to play a piano note with a 1 centimeter string. The string is just physically too short to produce the frequency. If you want, so it goes on to talk. I say the shop sold them knowing what I was doing. Now I see the frustration. Unfortunately, this is a common issue with mobile antennas sold as general purpose gear. Here's what likely happened. why the shop sold them anyway. Amipro 40 is marketed as a 40 metre antenna, but it's designed for mobile or short mast installation, often on cars or small metal mounts. When used in free space as a horizontal dipole, it behaves completely differently. The salesperson probably assumed you'd use it as a single mobile vertical on a vehicle, not a full dipole. Well, no, I did tell them what I wanted, what I was doing. Physical match. 40 metre mobile whip, total length 2.45 metres with loading coil. True quarter wave for 7 MHz, 10.7. Even two Amipro 40 whips together, 5 metre effective length, still far shorter than the 10.7 needed for 7 MHz. Result: SWR off the chart, cannot tune. You are seeing exactly that physics predict. What physics predict? What you can do, option, use them where they work. Mount each whip as vertical with a proper ground system, or mobile or on a mast. Right, use it. So yeah, we haven't tried that yet. Just mount them to a blooming biscuit tin. Use a wideband ATU tuner. No, I don't want to be doing that. Build a true 7 MHz dipole, each leg 10.7 metres. Half a total dipole, 21.4 metres. Use proper wire or tubing, not short mobile whips. Resonant naturally at 7 MHz with low SWR.
Hello, direct to ZSP. What's your requested level?
Direct to ZSP, request 370 on air 592.
Thanks for the
Option C, use a matching network. Use loading coils on LC matching electrical length. But it's bulky and tricky. Bottom line, the shop technically didn't lie, but they assumed a mobile installation. No, they didn't. I told them what I wanted. As a centre-fed dipole, the Amipro 40 whips are too short. Just too short. No amount of adjustment will make them resonant. If you can, I can sketch a practical alternative showing either. Yeah. So you can't tune them, basically. Cannot tune them. Alright, so they can't be tuned. Key takeaway: your current 2 Amipro 40 dipole set cannot be made resonant on 20 metres. I asked it if the two could be made resonant on. Apparently, they could be made resonant on about 15 or 12 metres. So anyway, I gave up on that idea. So the problem I've got is I'm trying to design this around all the different Amipro mobile whips, to buy all the different size whips for different frequencies and create a dipole out of them. But honestly, I must have missed antenna theory 101 at some point, or maybe it was too long ago. Back in when was we doing it? 1990, 88, 90. So it's a good job I didn't go and buy a load of these fastenings. So I can't make a free floating dipole antenna out of coiled whips, but they sell the dipole centres. They sell them, and they sell the angled, the 90-degree ones. And what are they for? Just for experimenting? Don't know what they're for. Unless, I don't know, unless you connect both to the centre of the coax, and like a delta, you know. Yeah, maybe they, I don't know. So you could co-phase them, I suppose, and different things. But, so that's where I'm stuck now. Cannot progress with the project because I don't know what to do. There's no point building if you can't tune it. Well, what it did say is you'd have to turn this 30 degrees in respect to this. If I put each antenna matching in its own position, to get it to work, you'd have to rotate it 30 degrees, and these would have to be 120mm apart. So this would work if I got rid of these and put just aluminium tubes on. It would work, but then you might as well just put wire on here, have a wire. I'm trying to get rid of the problem of having radials everywhere. So you might as well go to the car parts place or scrapyard and buy a bonnet or an old bonnet, stick it on your roof, put a mag mount on it. Basically, they'll have more luck anyway. So I'm at a loss now. I don't know what to do. It's a shame. This is a bit unwieldy anyway. A bit unwieldy. So maybe this is one of the quickest series that I've done. 2 episodes maybe. I don't know. So I'm gonna have to put that on hold. And I've got whips, connectors, and stuff that I can't do anything with, apart from stick it on a car, on a mag mount. So I've got 2 brand new antennas. I don't know. I'm going to ask the question before we pack up on it. Let's ask it one question. Right, so I'm going to say new subject. Right. Got it. So what about if I buy one more? Do it with 2 more and have a tripod type of thing. Right. Can 3 Amipro 40 mobile with antennas be used as a ground plane for a single Amipro 40 mobile antenna whip. Let's see if it understands what I'm trying to say. Yes, they can be used, but with important caveats. Let's explain. Short answer: yes, the Amipro 40 whips can be used as elevated ground plane radials for single Amipro 40 vertical whip, but they are not ideal and performance will be limited. Why this can work in principle: vertical antenna needs a return path for RF current. On a car, the vehicle body is the ground plane. Off a car, you must provide radials or counterpoints. Using 3 additional whips as radials is a known technique, elevated ground plane. So electrically, 1 whip radiates, 3 whips are counterpoise the ground plane. This is a valid antenna theory. The problem with Amipro 40 as radials, the length is far too short. For 40 metres, so it's back to being too short again. Ideal quarter wave is 10 point Amipro, yeah, so it's going back to that. You only have 23% of the needed length. Well, can't they just be quarter wave radials? That's what loses me. Poor ground efficiency, high ground loss. Loaded radials are ineffective. Amipro 40 whips are use loading coils. Good for radiators, bad for radials. Right. Radials, it's good for radiators, not for radials. Radials should be straight, unloaded, low resistance. A coil in a radial adds loss, which directly reduces radiation's efficiency. Will it tune? Yes, especially with an ATU. Right, you can tune the blooming short circuit with an ATU. SWR alone does not mean good radiation. Yeah. How to do it correctly? Best possible way. Mechanical setup. Center whip vertical. 3 radials spaced 120 degrees. Radials sloping down 30 to 45 degrees. All bases bonded together electrically. Electrical tips. Fully extend all whips. Use a tuner. Try to bypass a short the loading coils in the loading whips. Right, so that's not going to work if you use the same coils. Right, instead of 3 whips radials, use 1 Amipro 40 as a radiator and 3 to 4 wire radials. Right, okay. So here's one for it then. I'll put what about a 20 meter Amipro whip for the radiator and use the 3 Amipro 40 mobile whips as ground planes. Probably still say it's too short. Still going to be too short, probably. Yes, that covering makes much more sense. Exactly a reasonable workable antenna if set up correctly. You're proposing 1 Amipro 20 whip for 20 meters. Ground planes. Amipro 40 whips uses elevated radials. Let's evaluate why this works better than your earlier idea. Amipro is designed with a loaded Amipro physical length on 20 1/4 wave radial is 5.35 meter. So each radial is 45%. So it's still no good. So what about 80 meter ones then? Okay, what about Amipro 80? I don't think they do an 80, do they? Might do. So Amipro 80 as radials for Amipro 20. Good question, actually better again. Use an Amipro 80 as radials electrically. Your proposed setup: 1 Amipro 20, 3 or 4 whips for 80. Why this works well: radial length at 20 meters, wavelength. Right, 5.35 is longer than designed to be electrically long. As a radial being longer than needed is not a problem. Radials do not need to be resonant. Longer radials generally reduce ground loss. This is much better than 40. Loaded radials, pros and cons. Longer electrical length, better RF return path, lower loss. Cons: loading coil still adds some loss. Yeah, we know that. Heavier, more mechanical strength. Yeah, it's heavier. The 80 is better than as on 20. How well will it perform? SWR, easy tunable, efficiency good, bandwidth moderate, radiation at low angle, DX friendly. This will perform similar in many commercial compact 20 meter vehicles. Similar to many commercial compact. How to set it up correctly.
Swiss 122 Charlie, Roger, route direct to Avzat, climb flight level 270, report your requested.
Right.
Direct, Avzat, climb flight level
Right,
270,
so...
Swiss 122 Charlie.
Okay, so what about 3 Amipro 40s as ground planes, and a Amipro 10 for radiator whip. Will that work? Got to find some use this thing. Exactly, quite reasonable, and it will work much better than most of the earlier ideas. Let's go through your proposed antenna. 1 Amipro 10 meter band vertical whip. 2.6, right, ground plane 3 whips used at elevated radials. Why this works well: radiator length versus band 10 meter quarter wave, 2.68 meter. Amipro 10 is designed to electric correct on 28 to 29 megahertz. Excellent match for the band. Radials on 10 meter quarter wave radial. Amipro 40 physical length is 2.45. So that is very close, so still no good. Amipro 10 on 10 meters, the Amipro 40 is almost perfect as ground plane radials. Almost. Don't want almost. Expect performance. Easy tune, efficiency very good, wide band, radiation angle low, good for DX, pattern clean vertical. This would perform surprisingly well, close to a full size 10 meter ground plane vertical. Right, how to set it up correctly. So 3 radials minimum, 4 if possible. 4, why does it want 4? Space evenly. Tuning. So it'll probably be a waste of bands this antenna will work on. So good for 10 and 12, no for anything else. Option improvements: short out the loading coil if possible. Short out the loading coil. Add a 4th radial for better symmetry. Mount the antenna 2 to 3 meters above the ground. Final verdict: yes, this is one of the best uses of Amipro 40 whips. Very well matched electrically on 10 meters. Efficient. No tuner required. If you want, I can help. Can you trawl? I don't know how you spell that. Trawl, how do you spell trawl? Yeah. Internet for examples of the above
it's direct to Mulpat. I know you're going to call
setup.
Go direct to Everett, please. Route direct to Everett.
On any HF band. Right. Anything. Just give me anything. I looked around, found relevant real world examples and continue about using mobile whips.
Ryanair 7117, Roger. Route direct to Pole.
Describes the principle, right, articles, discussion, close radial setup, ground plane antennas that have elevated radials, a ground plane. Several wires, don't like wires. Portable HF ground plane build, similar concept.
Easy 319 Whiskey, Roger. Route to Dizim and then Aftic and
G portable HF, right, I got it.
To be level by Aftic.
Got Tim, hello Tim. Portable ground planes, reflected four threads. Using telescope route with a few sloping radials as a small ground plane. Use the link radials, right. Summary. What your setup would be is effectively a vertical quarter wave on elevated ground planes made of multiple elements. Alright. Okay, so there you go. So they're still not ideal. So
to Placky and climb flight level 330.
So there's no point, is there?
And Ryanair 93 Victor Echo, can you cross a beam offset flight level 300
no point.
or above?
Let me check. Stand by, Ryanair 93 Victor Echo.
Okay, give me a call back.
Good evening, Ryanair 6 Uniform Charlie, 6220 by Eastern 70.
Ryanair 6 Uniform Charlie,
yeah, KGM, DG4 SKN mobile.
Yeah, so anyway, I don't know what to do now.
Whatever it is, queuing up for
it's a good job I just bought the two Amipro 40s.
That's a pretty good radio, actually.
And I didn't go and buy the studs, I was going to buy 14 studs to mount it on. That's a shame. Anyway, that'll be a failed idea. Totally failed idea. So, that ain't gonna work then. So, I've got two brand new antennas. I've got no use for them. So, I'm not gonna go mobile. Won't be going mobile. I'll just drive you mad this one. It's picking up 5 bands at once. Let's just stick that onto there. So I can't use two together. What is the point then? And to get it to work at all, I'd have to buy a load more, and it still wouldn't be quite right. And then strange. So at the moment, I've got my Hustler 5 BTV. I've got a picture of it somewhere, and I've got radials connected coming out from it. Lots of different radials for different bands, just wire radials. And then the only grounding is through the, it's ground to the pole. Yeah, it's very confusing. But for the low noise, I want a freestanding dipole that's not grounded, balanced. Don't want it to be grounded. I've got enormous amounts of noise, 9 signal strength of noise on my HF radio. And that's because it's just... And I tried my Nano VNA on it. And the 80 meter section, it is no response at all. It's like it isn't even there. It's just like it doesn't exist. There's no dip in this visual SWR or nothing. There's no nothing. So I think you just got to go with a long wire end fed half wave. I don't know if I haven't got the room for that, unless I just do something weird, put it over top of the apex of the house. Let's go back to, I'm going to see if I can find, hang on. I'm going to see if I can find one of my older designs. Because I was making a hex cobweb antenna last year. I made it and I never installed it because the weather was bad. I'm just gonna hang on. Right, I'm just getting off the screen a minute because I've got to
Mike 7
try to find it.
G0KSB.
And finding it is not easy. Right, let's try and find it. What did I do with it? Hang on, was it part of that one? Nope. Vertical, no, that's the new one.
Mike 7 Oscar Romeo G0KSB.
It's right. I don't know what I did with it. It's here somewhere. Yeah, just trying to find all the old stuff. Oh, is it part of that? Might have been part of that. Yeah, there it is. Right, I've got it. Alright, let's bring it back over. Right, this is my Hustler 5 BTV with this radial I made. Anyway, I modelled the whole thing so you could actually, and it was on rubber, mounted on rubber to try and isolate it. So elevated or raised vertical. And it was okay, but now I've got rid of, I've sold this one. I sold this setup, and it was, and I got another one, and I've attached just wires straight to the bolts here, and different lengths, and it's absolute rubbish. It's rubbish. You'll probably be better off with just using a washing line pole basically. Now this all this get up here, I don't know what it does, but I must have a shorted one of these coils. One of these must be faulty, or the capacitor has gone in it or something. But this bit here on my Nano VNA, it doesn't even show up. That should be 40 meters, and this is the 80 meter bit. Not nada, nothing. Anyway, so, and you'd probably be better off. I don't know. I'm stuck now. I don't know what to do. That's not the whole thing, is it? Let me find it. Let me find the rest of it. Fan dipole. Oh, is that the one? What's this one? Oh, that's my initial designs. Yeah, so that's not the one. Is it down here? Alright, there's a picture. I think that's the house. Right, oh yeah, here's my hex cobweb. Combination of a cobweb antenna with a hex beam. Now this looked promising. Oh, that was the one there, but it's also stuck over the antenna, the Hustler, with the extra radial plate. But I was going to use it as a ground plane, a tuned ground plane, but I might have had better luck with that actually, because at least they're not loaded. So I even made all these stays, quick release stays. They were milled out at the time, but you could 3D print them now probably. Anyway, so that's that idea. Then there's this idea of a long wire pole up here, and you've got a dipole long wire. Well, it's not a long wire if it's a dipole, is it? And it comes down here, and it could even go so far to go down to a pole on here. So you'd have to come up here, across to there, and then down. Anyway, yeah, so I modelled all this. Never actually built this yet, this bit. Yeah. So it's like a folded dipole. So you got different bands. Obviously, you got 4 meters, 6, 10, 12, 15, and 20 meters. So probably need some more there. Anyway, I don't know if anyone else has much luck with their Hustler antennas. Since I've had this new one, I can't get anywhere. They can hardly hear me abroad. The other one, I had an older version of it, and it seemed to be much better. So I think one of these traps is faulty. Got to be. So anyway, it's got to come down, and I've got a fiberglass one now, base loaded. I forget what they call them now. I've got one of them to try, but
Mike 7 Oscar Romeo, G0 KSB.
Anyway, let's get rid of that. This is a no-no then, no-go, this one. It's a no-go. For what is the alternative then? So if I want it. What put me off is I was looking at a video Martin Lynch and Son did, and they took out a whip, 2 whips on a stand, a tripod. They were doing pretty well with it, but they weren't whips, were they? They were something else. Oh, I got confused with them. Anyway, I don't know where that's going to go. I'll have to think on it. Could go the tube method. What about tube method? Years ago, you'd just have a dipole. You'd have one up, one down. That would be the end of it. It's just the HF frequencies. They're going to be too long, aren't they? Yeah. Anyway, I think that's going to be it for today. So that's probably that wasn't even 48 minutes long. Oh well. So this is a no-go then, so that'll be 1 of 2, 2 of 2, and that'll be the big problem, unless someone's got any ideas. Anyway, so that's it for me. Thanks for watching. I'm out of here, and bye-bye.
Just find the right place in the program, make the appropriate change, and we'll run the whole thing again.
Speech is still very complicated. Music is simpler.
Is that a question?
Yes.
The question is futile.
My interpretation of the data leaves little room for error. The art of leadership is delegation.
That information is not available. This constitutes all available data.
You know what they say. No good deed goes unpunished.